Eh bien salut à tous, on est de retour sur The Raven, Legacy of a Master Chief, qui est un jeu en point and click que j'avais commencé il y a quelques semaines maintenant. Alors n'hésitez pas à regarder les trois ou quatre premiers, je sais plus, épisodes, je crois que c'est 4, afin de connaître le début de l'histoire, qui est... C'est vraiment un jeu que j'aime beaucoup, mais je l'ai arrêté parce que il commençait à y avoir beaucoup de dialogues et le patch FR n'était pas encore sorti. Donc j'ai le plaisir de le continuer maintenant. Alors pour rappeler ce qui s'est passé précédemment, il me semble que la baronne avait été tuée et donc là on cherche le coupable, celui qui l'a tué. On pense que c'est le corbeau, du moins l'inspecteur Legrand pense que c'est le corbeau. Pour l'instant, je sais pas trop pourquoi, mais je pense que c'est pas lui, mais plutôt un des autres passagers qui n'est pas le corbeau. Enfin bon, on va questionner un peu tout le monde, on va voir ce qui se passe. Alors,
I'm off. Oh no, I'm not going on a manhunt all by myself.
ouais, on va faire de la chasse à l'homme. Pas un petit fusil là pour essayer de le choper? Oula, il va pas bien Zellner.
Are you okay? Maybe you had better take a rest, in case the blow was more severe.
Bon, il est pas encore bien, notre petit Zellner.
I'm okay.
Après le coup qui s'est pris sur la tête.
Up here. Come on. I think it came from up there.
Ah, et le flic qui m'appelle alors, il est au-dessus. Qu'est-ce qu'il veut?
Sure, you just wanted to get a breath of fresh air. Zellner, look who we have here.
Well, if that's not our shadow.
And our stowaway.
Spent any time hiding in a trunk recently?
Me do nothing.
He claims to be part of the crew. Just wanted to get some fresh air.
Of course.
The Baroness won't open the door, sir.
Understood. Take him to the detention cell, Robert. You were right. There was a stowaway.
Yes, but he can't be the Raven. He's too young.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the Raven isn't lurking here as well.
What was that?
A shot!
It came from one of the cabins.
Oh no! Baroness von Trevitz? Baroness! Open the door!
Step aside, please.
We have a murder on our hands, gentlemen. Hurry, Zellner. The murderer still has to be nearby. There's practically no one on deck. Anyone who's outside is a suspect. This time, we'll get him. Zellner, are you okay?
Yes. Come on. We have to.
Zellner? Zellner! Merde!
Bon, plein de choses là, hein. Le flic a arrêté un mec, on sait pas si c'est vraiment lui le meurtrier. La baronne est morte donc. Et Zellner est tombé apparemment dans les pommes. Parce qu'il a pas encore... Il s'est pas remis de son coup qui s'est pris sur le crâne. Alors, ça va mieux maintenant? Bien dormi, tu crois que j'ai voulu dormir, espèce de petit con? Bon, on va pas être
I
sarcastique.
didn't fall asleep voluntarily.
It doesn't matter. We got along just fine without you.
I didn't pass out last night because of the blow to my head, did I?
Seems unlikely.
Inspector Legrand thinks you were drugged.
But how? The champagne.
Who gave you the glass of champagne?
Captain de Conti.
Interesting.
Ok, j'ai été
Arrested
drogué.
anyone yet?
Bon.
You mean besides the Arab?
He could hardly have committed the murder. You must have been with him when it happened.
We heard the shot on the forecastle. I locked our friend in the detention cell in the cargo hold, and then went up to assist Legrand. You were already sleeping the sleep of the just.
Ouais, est-ce que t'as des
The
autres
other
suspects?
suspects?
No. Seconds after the alarm went off, the decks were swarming with frightened passengers.
Yes. A clever way to stay incognito during the commotion.
But we still have our primary suspect, the Raven.
You really think he's returned?
Well, I think that no one knows as much about the Raven as Legrand.
But still, it all seems so incredible. About the champagne, shouldn't it be possible to find traces of the tranquilizer in the glass?
That is exactly what Legrand is trying to do.
Without a laboratory?
Oh, he's got a lab. His cabin is packed with all the latest forensic stuff. It's quite impressive what the inspector can do.
A competent man, no doubt, and surprisingly well prepared.
And diligent. He's been at it all night with his brushes and tinctures and glasses and everything, working like a man possessed. I wouldn't want to be the Raven now.
What's the state of play? How was the Baroness killed?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We'll know more once the doc finishes examining the body in the medical centre.
And no one saw anything suspicious?
No one saw a shadowy raven leaving the Baroness's cabin, if that's what you mean. A lot of people heard the gunshot. Inspector Legrand wants to question the passengers again this morning, once they've all calmed down, and he's had a chance to examine the evidence.
I suppose that you and Legrand inspected the crime scene and the surroundings.
Of course. And we already hit the jackpot. The murder weapon.
Really? Where did you find it?
On the gangway. The gangway for boarding the ship folds up and hooks onto the hull when it's not being used. The murderer probably wanted to throw the gun into the sea. He casually dropped it overboard.
But it landed on the gangway.
Bad luck.
But Legrand and I were on the side deck right after the shot. There was no one there.
Maybe the murderer threw the gun away later. We recovered it in the early hours.
I think I'll look for Inspector Legrand now.
Do what you think's best.
You won't get rid of me. I'm here to stay, Constable Oliver.
Be that as it may, Inspector Legrand ordered me to guard the cargo hold with our special guest. That's fine by me. Inspector Legrand may be able to get by without sleep for days on end, but not me. It's not easy playing with the big boys, Constable Zellner.
Ouais, fais le malin,
certainly isn't.
petit rouquin. Bon, on va aller voir dans la chambre de la baronne qui était juste là. Examiner un peu tout ça. Ah merde.
Cabin was sealed. I'm pretty sure
Bon,
the
on
seal
peut pas y aller
doesn't
tout de
have
suite.
any legal relevance here on the open sea, but I'm still dependent on Legrand letting me join his team.
Il faut que j'aille demander la permission à Legrand. Alors il faut que j'aille demander la permission à Legrand et il faudra donc que je me débarrasse apparemment du rouquin qui surveille la porte de la soute où il retient le prisonnier. Alors qu'est-ce qu'il y a par ici? Là, il n'y a rien par là. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a en arrière-plan là-bas? Entrer sur le pont arrière. Ok. Bah, on va aller voir ça. Allez. Allez. Voilà. Allez mon petit gros. C'est parti mon petit Zellner. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a à l'arrière ici? Il n'y a rien du tout. Examinez les serviettes. Ouais, ça me fait de belles jambes.
Big soft towels. I could reserve a deck chair with it. No, better not.
Non, c'est peut-être pas trop le moment. Hein. Examiner le transat, vas-y.
I'd really like to lie in the sun and take a nap, but I don't have time for that at the moment.
Eh ben non, c'est pas le moment non plus. Bon, il n'y a rien d'autre à voir là. Examiner les haut-parleurs.
These things made quite a racket last night. I couldn't hear myself think.
Ah c'est sûr, avec l'alarme qui a retenti, Ça fait du boucan sur un bateau. On va aller voir par là-bas. D'accord, ça mène là d'où je viens. Entrer dans le navire, examiner les caisses.
I suppose the life jackets are stowed there, close to the railing, close at hand in case of emergency. I hope I don't find myself needing a life jacket.
D'accord, un autre affaire avec ça. Alors, on va aller voir par là. Allez là, la soude, d'accord. Avec le petit rouquin qui est devant.
It may not seem like it, but Constable Oliver is actually a very effective watchman.
Examiner la porte.
The stowaway surely didn't sleep well last night in the cargo hold, although his cell is probably more comfortable than my cabin, and more spacious. I have to talk to the young fellow right away. If I want to get into the cargo hold, I'll have to get rid of the constable first.
Ouais, il faut que je
He
me
won't
débarrasse
let me
du
talk
rouquin,
to our young friend.
qui est assez chiant. Bon, si je clique dessus, ça fait rien. Regardez la mer. Eh bah, regarde la mer, hein, mon petit Zellner. Y a rien d'autre à faire ici?
Salty sea air in my old lungs. If I hadn't become a policeman.
Mhm. Examiner le terrain de jeu de palais.
I wonder if this game is an adventure.
Ouais, on s'en fout. Bon, pour l'instant, il n'y a rien à faire. Je peux pas me débarrasser du rouquin comme ça. J'ai rien sur moi. J'ai encore rien ramassé. Allez à l'étage. On va aller voir ce qu'il y a là-haut. C'est là où on avait intercepté, enfin, où le grand avait intercepté le clandestin. Alors... Ah, bouge tes fesses, mon petit Zellner. J'ai vu la hache derrière toi, là, fais voir. Examiner la hache. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il va me dire avec ça? Je peux prendre la hache?
Why is there an axe hanging here? I suppose it's for chopping through ropes in the event that the lifeboats can't be or they use it to enforce who's allowed on the boat and who's not.
Examiner la porte.
The ship's bridge. 2 men. One of them navigating. I get the impression that the officers keep things running. It seems like the captain concentrates on the passengers.
Ouais, le capitaine, c'est un peu un sous-l'eau. Hein.
I better let the men do their work.
Ah, je peux pas rentrer.
I detected something yesterday.
Je ne peux pas rentrer. Examiner la grille. Alors, il y a un ventilo là qui marche plus.
Must be part of the ship's ventilation system. Nothing out of the ordinary. The grate shouldn't be so easy to open. Did the stowaway open it and we caught him in the act? No. The pipe is too narrow. He wouldn't fit in there.
Ah, il pouvait être dedans. Ça tombe, c'était une femme. C'est peut-être pas lui le meurtrier, mais peut-être une femme ou un homme, un autre homme super fin. Ah ouais, ou bien il aurait pu se cacher là-dedans, c'est vrai. Examiner. Faut que je clique à chaque fois au moins 2, 3, voire plus de fois sur le même objet pour pouvoir qu'il trouve un indice ou quelque chose, enfin pour passer à l'étape suivante à chaque fois. Bon, bah, là j'ai fouillé toute la zone, il n'y a rien du tout. On va retourner en bas. on va aller tout en bas. Le grand doit être pas dans la soute, mais à l'étage inférieur. Toutes les cabines, pardon, je crois, sont à l'étage inférieur. Allez, mon petit Zellner. Zellner!
An antique wooden globe. If Galileo hadn't asserted himself back then, this would be a flat disk now. The globe nicely shows that 4/5 of the Earth's surface is covered. Looking out the window, I'd call that an understatement.
Et je crois que c'est un globe, vous savez, qui s'ouvre en deux, où dedans il y a des bouteilles. Mais non. Allez, descends. Il va falloir que tu fasses un petit peu de sport, hein, parce que là, la brioche, elle dépasse un peu. On va d'abord aller par là. L'infirmerie.
Come in.
Ah. Ah, bon, on va aller interroger ce gars-là.
Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
Dis-moi bonjour.
And there's the next one.
Excuse me?
You want something else from me, don't you?
I'm afraid I do.
What a first day at work. Well,
Alors, le corps.
What's the result of your examination of the victim?
she's dead.
I didn't make you work all
Sérieux?
night long,
Elle est morte?
Dr. Gebhardt.
She was... It seems like she was lying in bed. The shot struck her hard. She died immediately.
One shot?
More were unnecessary. And we only heard one shot, no?
And there's just one entrance wound.
Just one.
I am told that I was drugged.
That's how it seems.
What can you tell me about it?
Me? Why should that be my business?
Haven't you analyzed the glass?
No, I haven't. The inspector said he's the better chemist. I let him do it. That way I could at least concentrate on the body.
Do you think the Baroness might have been drugged? She was very tired and unsteady when Legrand and I saw her.
Yeah, I heard about that. I must have just missed her in the saloon. And without having seen her myself, it is hard to make a diagnosis.
Of course. Can you say something about her general health?
She was quite overweight, and the butler said that she suffered from diabetes. Despite that, she hadn't visited a doctor for several years.
Doesn't sound good.
Happens more frequently than you might suppose. Some people are scared of doctors and pay with an early death. It is possible that the Baroness wouldn't have lived much longer anyway.
Do you know whose glass I drank from?
What do you mean?
Captain de Conti handed me a glass of champagne. But where did he get it?
I don't know. Did you ask him?
I'm just asking because you were also in the saloon when the champagne was served.
Yes, but I only entered the saloon a few seconds before you did. I didn't manage to get a drink myself.
Which, in retrospect, is lucky.
Ah, you're right about that.
Have you already removed the bullet?
Did Legrand send you? What is that Frenchman's problem? I already told you. I will get in touch as soon as I have it. That is also what I told the constable, who he kept sending all night long, once I finally got rid of Legrand himself.
Did he look over your shoulder?
He probably wanted to take the scalpel from my hand and hack away himself. But this is my surgery, and I will not let amateurs interfere with my work.
That's understandable. How much longer will it take?
Ugh. I have just finished. Send my regards to His Majesty.
Thanks. I think that's it for now.
No. That is it for now, then, and later. I'm going to lie down for a few hours. Can you tell that to your boss?
But
Et il me vire comme ça, lui.
could I at least have the key?
Absolutely not.
But if we have to examine the victim again,
Then the esteemed inspector knows where to find me. In my cabin. In bed. Good night, Constable Zellner.
Il est un peu louche, lui, hein. S'il avait rien à se reprocher, il m'aurait laissé la clé. Qu'est-ce que ça peut lui faire? Hmm. Je peux rien faire ici? Il y a quoi, là?
Evacuation plan, and here, a schedule of activities.
Ouais. Rien d'intéressant. Putain, j'ai toujours rien dans mon inventaire. L'alarme. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a sur l'alarme?
Alarm like this one was set off yesterday. This one hasn't been set off. The security seal is intact.
La porte de la cabine de Legrand.
That is Legrand's cabin.
Allez, on va rentrer. Toc toc.
Come in.
Come in. Tu vas te calmer, hein. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il va nous apprendre, ce Gugus?
Ah, Zeln, are you ready?
Good morning, Inspector Legrand.
Qui, je vous rappelle, ressemble fortement à de la rue.
My head is pounding, but I think I'm okay.
Chloral hydrate.
Hmm?
That's why you have a headache. I found traces of it in your champagne glass.
Alors, bah dis-moi tout, hein.
What have you found out so far?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We heard the shot. The murderer quickly fled the cabin and dropped the murder weapon over the railing later. A simple story so far.
But why was her cabin door locked?
Exactly. If the murderer wanted to make it seem like a suicide, he'd have shot her in the head and left the gun at the crime scene.
And if it was murder, why did he go to all the trouble of locking the door from inside? And how did he manage that anyway?
Especially since we arrived just a few seconds later and didn't see anyone near the cabin.
Something doesn't make sense here.
No, it doesn't, and it's driving me crazy.
Did you find the murder weapon?
On the gangway on the side of the ship. I suspect the murderer tried to drop it into the sea. He would have stood close to the railing to let it fall unseen.
And since he doesn't know the ship, he had bad luck and dropped it right onto the gangway.
Indeed. And do you find that probable?
Not a bit.
Neither do I.
What kind of a gun is it?
A pistol, a Luger '08.
Antique.
Manufactured 1,000,000 times during and after the First World War. Austrian model. The owner is David Kreutzer, the violinist. We found him tonight totally drunk on the bow of the ship. He confirmed that it's his gun, but he claims that it was stolen from him.
Fingerprints?
Nothing. But it's worth mentioning that the clip was missing 2 bullets.
And it's definitely the murder weapon.
The ballistic tests are incomplete. Actually, I've been waiting far too long for the bullet recovered from the corpse. Pay the good doctor a visit, Zellner, and see that he does his job.
About the bullet, here it is.
Excellent. Give it to me. As I suspected, a 7.65 Parabellum Luger.
Don't you want to examine it in more detail?
When I have time. For now, though, we can assume that we have the murder weapon. There can't be too many antique Luger '08 pistols on board.
May I take a look at the Baroness's cabin?
We already searched it thoroughly.
Sure. But what about now, by daylight?
Yes, fine, it can't hurt. Here, take this with you.
Thanks. I'll let you know if I find anything important.
But only then, please. I'm very busy.
Of course. Do you believe the violinist?
He'll be the first person I question. He claims he can't remember anything from the last few hours. Says he drank a bottle of schnapps.
He was on the train and he doesn't have an alibi. His drunkenness could be a smokescreen.
He fits the profile. He travels a lot, has access to high society. Could be interesting.
And this chloral hydrate?
Is a tranquilizer. Can be dissolved in alcohol. The effect begins in minutes and lasts for hours. Who gave you the glass of champagne?
I think it was the captain. But he could have got the glass from someone else.
Find out.
Understood. You think that the jewel thief is the murderer?
Our friend would have needed another key to open the safe and steal the second eye. The one the Baroness was carrying. At least, that's what we implied.
What do you mean?
The Baroness was famous for her forgetfulness. I convinced her to give me the third key. It seems safer for the eye.
The thief searches the Baroness's cabin looking for the third key.
She returns from the saloon earlier than expected.
Surprises him, and he can't allow her to identify him.
He imprisons her until the coast is clear, and then shoots her.
And thus, the thief becomes a murderer.
but still doesn't have all the keys.
Are you sure that there's no bomb inside this time?
Professor Lucien locked it in front of an audience, and it will be opened for the first time in Cairo.
Let's hope so.
It would take hours to crack it, and you'd need heavy machinery.
Or the keys.
Or the 3 keys, that's right.
Do you really think that the Raven is behind all this?
He wrote the letter that was on the safe in the train. Without the letter, we wouldn't have opened the safe, and the bomb wouldn't have exploded.
But it doesn't seem like him, does it? The Raven was famous in part because he never hurt anyone, much less killed anyone, during a burglary.
It's his handwriting, and he called me Nico. No one else does that. I chased that man across Europe for years. It is him. It has to be him.
But the evidence...
Enough.
I'll be on my way. I want to find out who gave me the drugged champagne.
Good idea.
Inspector Legrand? Are you okay? Maybe you should take a break.
I can sleep once I've caught the Raven. Goodbye, Constable.
Be seeing you.
Bon, c'est une pipelette, hein, ce Legrand. Mais bon, il nous a appris pas mal de choses. Alors. Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire maintenant, mon petit Zellner? On va pouvoir enfin entrer dans la cabine de la baronne. Est-ce que j'ai tout fait en bas? J'ai tout visité. Allez, c'est parti. Allez, je m'en fous. Je vais aller vers le bas. Allez. Non mais je rêve. Je voulais pas aller par là. Bon, tant pis. On va aller voir d'abord par là le capitaine qui est arrivé au bar. Comme de par hasard. Ah oui, ça pourrait être un suspect de ceux qui m'ont drogué.
What was your experience of last night?
Oh, terrible. Dinner was fantastic. Everyone was excited about how...
You were in the saloon all night long.
As the captain, I have to care for my passengers. After you and the others rushed out, I tried to maintain a festive atmosphere. But when the alarm goes off, I lose the battle.
Did everyone drink from the same bottle of champagne last night?
There was more than one bottle, if that's what you mean. There were quite a few guests, and the event lasted several hours.
The last bottle of champagne, the one the Baroness drank from, did anyone else drink from it?
Certainly.
We have reason to believe that the champagne was drugged.
Incredible. But wouldn't that have made everyone drowsy?
Not if it was only the Baroness's glass that was drugged.
I see. That's possible. On a night like that, many glasses are filled and emptied. There are several stewards, many guests. No one keeps track of every glass.
A few drops in a glass?
Yes.
How was the Baroness?
She really surprised. After she was so unapproachable at the reception and didn't show her face for the entire afternoon, I was afraid she was one. But then she arrived in the early evening in the best of moods. Already had a few, if you know what I mean.
Did she say anything to you?
She asked me where Legrand's cabin was. I told her, then invited her to come for drinks in the evening. I said it would be great fun. The whole ship will be there, and you don't want to miss that, I told her.
And then?
She seemed to like the idea. She smiled, and then left again for a few minutes. Then she came back and seemed very happy. We drank a toast to life.
The glass you handed me last night, where did you get it?
Ah, I understand. You think your glass was poisoned as well?
Did you pour it yourself?
No. I saw that you weren't doing so well and wanted to rescue the situation. I took the first available glass and I give it to you.
Was it on the table?
No, I hurry over to you, together with Dr. Gebhardt, who, of course, he had the glass in his hand. He was looking around for a place to set it down, so that he could examine you. I took it from him.
And gave it to me.
I'd like to apologize for that. You look so worse for the wear, and I just wanted to comfort you. I didn't think of looking...
So the doctor had the drugged glass in his hand. Is it possible to find out where the alarm was set?
I'm afraid not. There are alarms all over the ship. I'm afraid they're gonna be missing on a lot of alarms. You know, this is an old ship, and over the years...
So, you're saying that the alarms haven't been regularly maintained?
I'll inform the crew immediately, of course.
Of course. Earlier, you said that the Baroness was in a good mood and was... What happened afterwards? We met you outside the saloon.
She overdid it a bit. She suddenly... I asked her if she wanted to rest for a moment in her cabin. But then she realized that she really did need to lie down. We left together. You know that.
What can you tell me?
Oh, not that much, I'm afraid. In most cases, I just shook hands. There are a few regulars on board, and after dinner, I had a conversation with Mr. Kreutzer, a talented violin. But you already know them.
It seems like there aren't that many passengers on board.
These bloody airplanes are... Can you imagine? Grown men prefer to jam themselves into a narrow metal coffins instead of enjoying the fresh sea air on a ship.
It's all about saving time.
It shouldn't be about how much time it takes to get from A to B, but about how you spend that time. What do you
I'll get back to my investigation.
Ciao,
Lady Westmacott seems to be an early bird, but maybe that's just because of all the excitement. I saw a twinkle in her eye on the train. She's eager to be part of a real detective.
Oh là là, c'est une pipelette, hein, ce capitaine, sérieux. Examinez le bac de glace, tiens.
The alcoholic drinks and everything that goes with...
Ouvrir. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a là-dedans?
Ice and tongues.
Ah, je vais prendre la pince. Voilà.
Constable Zelda. What is the meaning
Oh,
of this?
t'as rien vu.
Are even the police light-fingered nowadays?
Bien sûr. Je m'amuse à voler des petites pinces pour glaçons.
Criminal investigation.
Well then, why didn't you say so? But bring the tongues back when you're done. Otherwise, I'll have cold fingers all day.
Et il est content lui, c'est alcoolo. Alors, on va aller voir la petite vieille Lady Westmacott.
Lady Westmacott. Already on your... Oh.
La bonne blague. Déjà sur pied, mais tu peux pas te lever.
I'm sorry.
No time for chit-chat. What have you found out?
We're still working on the case.
Please, go ahead.
What did you think of our adventure on the train? And
I'm glad that you were able to prove yourself, Mr. Zellner.
hopefully not for the last time.
I'm glad that everything ended well. I want to thank you sincerely for taking care of Matthew. I can't bear to think about something happening to him.
It all worked out in the end. Do you think that the thief from the
I think the new Raven is capable of anything.
Legrand believes there is no new Raven. He thinks that the old one has
He said that.
You think it's possible? Everyone thinks he's dead.
As a dramatist, the return of the Raven would certainly be delightful. A legend comes back from the grave for one last job. It's quite romantic. At the same time, though, I'd be disappointed.
Why is that?
I followed the Raven's career closely. There weren't many burglars with such character and charm. His burglaries were clever and entertaining, but he was sloppy in London. He almost got caught, and I'll never forgive him for the affair on the train. No, I would much rather that the Raven stayed dead and had nothing to do with the burglary or the murder.
What do you think? Who is our...
Everyone, or almost everyone. Everyone on board is physically capable of shooting, but who has the dark desire to take the life of...
One cannot read much.
And one should not try. It won't be like a bad crime novel, in which they introduce a new character shortly before the end who...
Murderers leave evidence. They're nervous or unnaturally relaxed. They have...
And because of that, they make mistakes. This is your chance, Constable. If you find the mistake, you'll find your murderer.
Have you noticed anything related to the murder?
Unfortunately not. I was already in my cabin and missed all the commotion. Damnable old age.
You're telling me.
Oh, you're still young. At my age, you have to expect that you won't experience much anymore. And although I've written about murder so many times, I've never actually...
I doubt everyone is so relaxed in such a situation.
Heartless is the word you're searching for, right? I certainly didn't want the Baroness to be murdered, but...
What do you think of Inspector Legrand?
He seems to be as skilled as everyone says. Intelligent, focused. I had a chat with him yesterday, and he impressed me, but there's something haunted in his eyes.
I don't think he ever really stopped hunting the raven.
Catching the raven made him famous. What if he actually shot the wrong person? Unjustified fame bothers people, the good ones at least.
And you think he's one of the good ones?
Anyone who tries so hard to tear down his own memorial must be honorable. Or insane.
I have to be going, Lady Westmacott.
Bon, les dialogues sont assez longs, hein. Là pour le moment il n'y a pas beaucoup d'action, il faut que je cherche un petit peu à droite à gauche, puis après ça bougera un peu plus. Alors, est-ce qu'il y a du monde donc maintenant par là? Eh bah non. Super. Rien de neuf là de ce côté-là. Allez sur le pont, c'est tout ce qu'il me propose, bon. Tant pis, on va aller par là. Et je veux rentrer dans la cabine de la baronne, bordel du nom d'idiot. Voilà. Allez. Ah, c'est pas vrai. Maintenant il veut bien. Non mais attends. C'est la première fois. C'est pas du français ça. Alors, la chambre de la victime. Déjà du sang sur le lit. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il y a d'autre? Ici, il n'y a rien. Fouiller la commode. Vas-y. Oh putain, ça c'est un enregistreur. La taille de ce truc-là. Alors, examinez le lit. Vas-y, examine-moi ce lit.
The sheet and the blanket have already been removed.
Allez. La tache de sang.
The blood spot is the only sign. Somehow. That's odd. The blood is so red. Shouldn't it gradually darken in the air? Turn brown?
Ah, ça c'est pas fou, j'y avais pas pensé. Monsieur l'expert, c'est tout ce que tu me dis?
All cats are gray in the dark, as the saying goes.
Ouais, mais j'ai rien pour... Si, avec la pince? Hihihi. Non, je peux rien faire avec la pince. Non. Ouais, blablabla. Non, je peux rien faire d'autre ici. Bon, je peux pas prélever la tache de sang. Faudrait soit des ciseaux, je sais pas, pour couper, soit un coton-tige. Ah, examiner l'enregistreur, ouais. Il devrait y en avoir deux. Ce n'est pas la bonne. D'accord.
A reel made by Zeibling. Zeibling's tapes can be overwritten many times without... They're used in offices so that executives can...
Ouais,
But they're
ouais.
not good for much else.
On s'en fout. Ah, voilà. Bah, tu la poses pas là, tu la prends direct, voyons, mon petit Zellner. Qu'est-ce que tu me fous? Examiner le vase, tiens.
A big, ugly... If it had a wider opening, one could at least use it as an umbrella.
Alors, il y a quoi dedans?
Can't see anything.
Ouais, bah, fais tomber, hein.
Wow, heavier than it looks.
Quoi, il y a ça? Des plumes?
Aha!
Bon, prends les plumes.
Nothing special. Although, it seems like one of the feathers was scorched at the top. Literally burnt.
Des plumes brûlées tout autour.
I better
Ouais.
take it with me.
Jusque là, je comprends pas pourquoi. Avec le vase, il y a encore un truc dedans, non? Qu'il fasse il fait pas
Why
pour
the
des
down
plumes.
feathers? Or is there anything else in there?
Là-bas, t'aurais pu me le sortir.
There may be something else in the vase.
La
but then-
nature est trop étroite. Ah, attends, j'ai ce qu'il te faut. Voilà,
Could work.
nickel.
There's something in there. Ah,
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
someone stuffed this in the vase. Looks like it's been used to muffle a gunshot. If this isn't an important discovery, I don't know what is. Legrand, here I come.
Ouais, attends, on va fouiller encore un petit peu la chambre. Je suis sûr qu'il y a d'autres trucs. J'ai pas tout regardé. Il y a quoi là-dedans?
Most unportable port.
T'arrêtes de faire ton malin en sifflant.
Must be hard work transporting this big heavy thing. And the Baroness was lucky that the other freight car. An impressive piece, but I. The mannequin surely came with the cap.
Mhm. Ouais. La tâche de son nom, c'est bon. Qu'est-ce que tu me fais, mon petit Zellner? Je te demande d'aller là-bas, voilà. Alors, il y a quoi là-dedans?
Apparently, the Baroness didn't have time to unpack her bags. Or rather, didn't have time to tell her butler to unpack them for her.
Ah, c'est vrai, la majordome, j'avais complètement oublié le majordome. D'ailleurs, je l'ai pas vu.
But here, the Baroness's handbag.
Il y a encore quelques personnes qu'on n'a pas vues qui étaient dans le train avec nous. Il y avait le violoniste, donc le majordome
A
aussi.
small leather-bound book.
Il y avait l'archéologue, si je dis pas de bêtises. Et il y a le gamin, le petit rouquin.
Yes, it's difficult to read.
La mère du gamin aussi.
No entry from yesterday.
Bon, il va nous apprendre quelque chose ou pas, ce journal?
A brief, sober description of what she's done recently. Met Morris. Arranged benefit concert for renovation of Louvre Southeastern Wing. Times photo shoot for
Ouais, on s'en fout un petit peu de tout ça. Hein.
and so on. This entry is strange. The handwriting is
Une écriture
shaky.
tremblante. Est-ce qu'on l'a forcé à écrire?
Dreamt of Bobby. Yesterday would have been
Rêve
his
de
birthday.
Bubby.
Next week, Jay's.
Celui de...
Hmm.
on sait pas qui c'est ce J. James, Jack.
The Baroness was a very busy. She writes about Bobby and Jay almost every.
Bon, prendre le
I'll
journal.
leave it there.
Ah, tu peux pas.
I don't have
D'accord.
time.
Fouiller le sac. Bon. Examiner le hublot. Le hublot.
The portholes face the side deck. If someone climbed out of the cabin through a porthole, Legrand and I would have seen them.
Ouais, fais le malin.
The portholes are locked. It's the same problem as with the door. If someone left the cabin and the Baroness
Ouais.
wasn't shot from outside.
Ouais. Bon, rien d'autre dans cette chambre. Les tables de nuit là-bas, non, y a rien. Je peux rien faire. À part cette tache de sang, il faudra que je prélève un échantillon, hein. Mais bon.
The unusual color of the blood.
Ouais, j'ai compris, j'ai compris. Je peux rien faire, même avec, je sais pas, la thé dorée, une connerie. Avec du papier?
The
Non.
unusual.
Ouais. Fuck you. T'es sûr que tu veux pas avec la pince? Non. Comment je dire ça? Ouais. Hop. Avec la bobine peut-être? Non. Non, j'en sais rien. Bon, peut-être qu'il faudra prélever ça plus tard. Parce que pour l'instant, j'ai pas ce qu'il faut apparemment.
The unusual.
Ah, tu me saoules. Allez, on se casse. Faire un d'autre ici. Voilà, comme ça j'aurais pu revenir à part pour prendre cette foutue tâche de sang. Tiens, le majordome.
Baroness's butler looks like he didn't get much.
On va aller l'interroger lui aussi. C'est reparti pour un petit dialogue.
Hello, Mr. Inch.
Oh, Constable, hello.
You look the worse for wear. It must be terrible.
Quite terrible. No one will hire me now.
Excuse me?
My mistress was murdered. Would you hire a butler who's been mixed up in a murder?
But if it turns out that you're not guilty...
If. But what if not? Who else would they blame? There are no gardeners on this ship.
I understand your problem. Under these circumstances,
Of course.
Did you notice anything suspicious last...
No, sir. After the Baroness went to the saloon, I went to the forecastle. I was there until the alarm went off. I went to the side deck and arrived shortly after Professor Lucien and Miss Miller. We found you and Inspector Legrand there. You were unconscious, and the inspector asked us to take care of you.
Did you hear the gunshot?
No, just the
You said you were on the forecastle. It sounded like the Baroness let you have the rest of the night off.
Not entirely, sir. One of the crew informed me that the Baroness wanted to be roused at 10:15.
Right. Why was that?
I suppose that she wanted to toast the success of the journey.
She hadn't intended to take a nap then.
That was not her way, sir. She had a lot of spirit, shall we say, when it came.
The Baroness's cabin seems to have been ransacked.
Indeed, sir, by the Baroness herself.
Really?
She was searching for something the entire afternoon.
And did she find it?
I think she did, sir, yes. She was in high...
You wouldn't happen to know what she was looking...
I'm afraid not.
Would you describe the Baron...
Well, she always had a lot of responsibilities, sir.
That doesn't answer...
She used to take a lot of luggage on journeys. She was always very angry when she...
What about the photos and the documents I saw in her cabin?
I really don't know. They were our memories.
The Baroness seemed to be pretty drunk the last time I saw her.
Is that so?
Does that surprise you? Did the Baroness not drink?
Oh, yes, she drank. It was no...
I understand. How serious was her habit?
Serious enough, sir.
Was she under any medical supervision?
Certainly not, sir. She adamantly refused to see a doctor. Like so many elderly women, she had a...
How long had you worked for the Baroness?
6 months, sir.
Only 6 months? I always thought that butlers stayed with their employers for decades.
Those decades have to start at some point. Her former butler wasn't able to fulfill his...
I understand.
I took on his duties and hoped for...
May I ask what happened to your arm?
A souvenir.
Doesn't it hinder your work?
Yes, sir, obviously.
I didn't mean to...
The Baroness had a soft spot for disabled veterans. I think she'd been through a...
I think that's all for now.
Please, sir, find the murderer. You have to clear...
Bon. Il m'a pas appris grand chose quand même, lui. On va aller voir l'inspecteur Legrand.
A singed pillowcase is proof that there must have been...
Ah bah j'ai pas besoin d'aller toquer, il y va direct comme un fousan. Il est tout fou là. Qu'est-ce qu'il fait?
Inspector?
Coucou, qu'est-ce que tu foutais?
Can't you knock?
I didn't realize. I'm really...
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to question each passenger individually. Anyone without an airtight alibi will be checked.
But Inspector...
People trip up when you put pressure on the
Et tu
Raven.
vas écouter ce que j'ai à dire?
He's changed his methodology. And
Non, il veut pas.
I'll see it in his eyes. After you.
But Inspector
Quoi, je peux pas
Legrand-
rester? Fouiller un petit peu ta pièce, non? Bon. Putain, il veut rien savoir, il m'énerve lui.
We have no proof that the Raven and the murderer are the same person.
You may not know
Ouh,
it,
il fait
but
son méchant.
I will catch him with or without your help.
Fais pas ton vilain méchant. Bon, tant pis. J'ai toujours la tête d'oreiller. Hein.
I don't believe it. What's gotten into him?
Est-ce
Ah, well.
que j'ai autre
It
chose
makes
à
no
faire
sense
quand
to
même
tell
ici?
him about my theories. If his opinion is all, I also need his lab. If I
Ouais,
need
faut que
to get in
j'utilise
there
son
somehow,
labo.
and I really need
Il doit avoir
to
des trucs
talk
pour
to the
prélever le sang. Hein.
stowaway. He may
Examiner la porte.
the ground locked the door.
Ouais, faudrait que j'ai sa clé.
The lock isn't especially secure.
Ah, un fil.
If I had a wire or something like that.
Est-ce que tu veux que je trouve un fil, mon petit Zelner? J'ai rien sur moi. Examiner la plante. Tiens, on va examiner la plante. Bonjour la
Pitiful
plante.
attempt to make the interior of the
Comment
ships.
vas-tu?
A bit of paint on the walls would have helped more. There are little
Truc de fou. Il y a des pierres.
Not only does the poor plant have to make do without sun,
Alors je prends les pierres, non? Tu les remets? Ah, tu veux pas les prendre? Moi je te dis de prendre les pierres. Voilà.
really? What am I supposed
J'en sais rien, mais tu me les prends.
Although, sooner or later,
À un moment ou à un autre, si j'ai un petit creux, hein, si j'ai un petit peu faim, je mangerais bien une pierre ou deux. Non mais attends, je sais pas, ça pourrait servir pour la suite. Si je dois les prendre, c'est qu'il y a une raison. Entrer dans l'infirmerie, non, je peux toujours pas, Coco. Examiner le couloir.
I'm not paying for this. It's rather
Entrer dans la cabine. Entrer dans la cabine.
no. I've slept.
Ah, c'est ma cabine qui est de l'autre côté, d'accord. Bon bah, on va remonter là-haut, hein, Coco. Allez. Quand tu veux. Voilà. Bon, le majordome, il va rien nous apprendre d'autre. Hein. Je crois qu'on va se laisser là, les amis. Ça fait déjà une bonne petite vidéo. On va aller retourner voir le rouquin un petit peu plus tard. Et donc, je vous dis à très vite pour la suite de The Raven, Legacy of a Master Chief. Et à très bientôt. Allez, ciao.